furniture industry is actually very personal to me and very near to my heart. My mom is a furniture retailer. She is the showroom manager of Doris Leslie Blau in Washington, D.C., so I'm well aware of some of the problems that furniture retailers face day to day. So let's get started and learn how to win these moments that win your customers and drive some sales. Before I start, could I also get a show of hands? How many of you are furniture retailers? So everyone pretty much. Okay, great. And how many of you would consider yourselves marketers? Okay, so that's almost all of you as well. That's good to know. Great. And for those of you who are new to marketing, I'm going to try and break some of this language down into simpler terms, so I'm not just talking about digital to myself. Okay, perfect. So here's the opportunity. I have problem there crossed off because a lot of people look at this crazy customer journey of having a customer looking at their cell phone in the morning on the way to work, and then seeing ads on their computer, and then seeing ads on the television, hearing ads on the radio. It makes the journey to walk into the store seem a little bit more fragmented. We no longer just read the newspaper, see an ad. That's the only ad we might see all day, maybe at a newsstand, and then walk into that store that was showing that ad. But I want you to not see this fragmented customer journey as a problem, but more of an opportunity, because I've seen a lot of retailers take advantage of this and get more sales in store via the internet. There's 2 points I also want to get across today. One is that, unfortunately, the customer journey is actually getting more complex every day. By the end of the presentation, though, I want you to know that there are some solutions. So the first half of the presentation might be a bit scary, but the second half should give you some great tips to kind of win those moments. So let's just dive into the problem. Cool. Audience fragmentation. Here's what I mean by that. In 1988, The Cosby Show was the most watched television show in the United States. If you had a commercial that ran during The Cosby Show, 25% of US households would see your ad. Great for business. Let's move a decade later to 1998. You have Seinfeld, which is the most watched television show in the United States. You play your commercial during Seinfeld, 22% of US households are viewing your commercial. Now let's move to 2015. The most watched show on US television is The Big Bang Theory. You play your commercial during The Big Bang Theory. Only 6% of US households are seeing your commercial. What's going on? I'm sure that's what you're all thinking right now. Well, these businesses are what's going on. It's not that less people are watching entertainment. Americans and also the global market, we love to be entertained. The same amount of people are watching these TV shows, but their eyeballs are just elsewhere. You know, they're watching Netflix, so they can stream their shows, watch them when they want to. They no longer have to gather on the TV at 8 p.m. as a family to watch the Seinfeld show. They can watch it in the backseat of a car during their family vacation trip. Hulu, another example of a TV network here. And then finally, YouTube, I have to plug because I work for Google, which owns YouTube, is now the second most popular website in the world. And a lot of people are engaging with content, video content on YouTube as well. So these viewers and these customers are not going away, their eyeballs are just going elsewhere. I have a pop quiz for you guys. Do any of you recognize any of these logos, and can anyone name all three? Snapchat? Does anyone know the paper airplane one? Sorry? No, it's actually called Line. Okay, cool. Okay, so essentially, all three of these are just companies that are where people are watching media. A lot of the people who use these tend to be younger aged people, are millennials, but this adds another part to the customer journey. Now there's eyeballs going to these messaging apps and sending videos to each other really quickly. You know, that's just something else to think about. It's getting more complex, and I know it can be scary. And has anyone heard about this, YouTube TV? YouTube is now has the partnership with all of those networks that used to play, like The Cosby Show and Seinfeld, et cetera, ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC. And for $35 a month, you can have 6 people in your house on different devices streaming all of the shows that used to be on TV, but now they're just not watching it on the TV. I know, this is very daunting, but people are still watching entertainment. That's the point I want to get across. And to make things even more complicated, we've introduced more devices. There's iPads and Android tablets, there's cell phones, there's of course laptops, which I'm sure some of you are on right now. And we no longer just go online to get information, we essentially live online. Right, so here's kind of a typical day for a user of like a mobile device. This is actually someone that I work with. These are some of the moments and opportunities where they engage with their phone. We check our phones 150 times per day, the average person. You may not realize it, but you do. So for example, this person has all these different engagement points with their phone throughout the day. At 6:50 a.m., they're waking up and they're reading the news online. At 8:30 a.m., they're at the bus stop waiting to go to work. They're listening to music off of their phone. At 11:15, they might be buying a product for an upcoming event. Like if I went online yesterday and said, I need a really cool blue tuxedo blazer, I'm just gonna go on my phone and see where the closest store is that sells that blazer. All the way down to the last moment, which is truly unfortunate, but I've caught myself doing it, checking your work email in bed on your phone. I know, it's sad. I love this slide. I love this slide. This artist is just basically trying to represent what the Titanic crash might look like today. So everyone's filming it on their smartphones. They're probably gonna Snapchat it to their friend or tweet a picture of it. It's pretty great. Another slide that we love to show at Google, there's actually a scientific phobia called nomophobia, which is a fear of being without a mobile device, power source, or service area. And apparently 66% of the population suffers from nomophobia. I must admit, I suffer from nomophobia because on the plane here yesterday, there were no power outlets and my phone ran out of battery. And I panicked and I opened a novel. So good things can come out of that too. So here we go. Our attention is going digital. This is interesting. On the left side, you'll see those 3 devices, the smartphone, a tablet, and the laptop. Year over year, about 16% more time is spent on digital compared to last year. I've also noticed that, there's been a slight drop, only like negative 2.5% less time is spent on TV. They're still quite comparable, 2,422 minutes per week on these digital devices, and a little less than 2,000 minutes per week are spent watching TV for the average American. Cool. This is a great headline that kind of talks about this problem. The New York Times ran this headline during the Olympics that said, as Olympic viewership falls, NBC thinks of the bigger picture. And if you actually read that article, although the headline might seem a bit scary, why aren't people watching the Olympics anymore? What NBC did was realize how much their website traffic was going up during the actual Olympics and how many people were streaming the opening ceremony, the javelin, all of those events online actually instead, and they found out the same number of people, actually more people now are tuning into the Olympics than ever before. They're just watching it on the internet. Cool. So how does digital relate to your industry, home furniture? Well, in the United States, we pulled some data for y'all, and we found that there is an 18% search growth overall last quarter, 2016 at the end of the year, compared to 2015. That's fantastic. That means there's 18% more people basically going online and searching for home furniture. People are going to google.com, to Bing, to ask.com in droves to search for your industry. It's more popular than ever on google.com as well. 57% of these searches came from mobile. That might sound strange to you guys, but I'll get into how frequently people switch from devices all throughout the day. You might start your search on mobile, but you might end it, your order or calling the business as you look at their website on desktop. 57% of searches coming from mobile for an industry is actually fairly common across all industries, somewhere over 50%, simply because we spend more time on mobile than we do on desktop these days. And then 33% of searches came from the computer for home furniture. Cool. So now I'm going to take you into Google's approach. I probably scared you a little. You think everyone's on the internet all the time, and they're on their laptop, and they're on their tablet, on these different devices. Well, guess what? Google has come up with a very sound approach on how to find these customers at exactly the right moment, right before they switch a device to switch devices. And I'm going to walk you through kind of those steps. Perfect. So on the left side, I'm not sure if that's cut out, but it should say, I want to know, I want to find, I want to buy, and I want to watch. Google looked at all of the search data, the YouTube data, Gmail, Chrome, web browsing, and figured out that you can basically categorize every activity that someone is doing on the internet to one of these 4 moments, and we call them moments. And for you guys, it just means more connected consumers just means more opportunities for you to engage with your customers. If they're online all the time and your ads are there all the time and your brands are there all the time, you're going to get more sales. Cool. So if we break this down even further, those I want to know moments, I want to go, I want to find, I want to watch moments, they get broken down into micro moments. So these are the only moments that truly matter, and I'll go into more detail. It's basically a combination of context, intent, and immediacy. So intent is if I'm searching for apartments in San Francisco, as an advertiser, you could say, okay, people who are searching for apartments in San Francisco are probably going to want to buy new furniture. So I'm going to start sending ads to people who start searching for new apartments, maybe a more creative way to do things. Context would be if someone starts searching for sofas, you might show them a sofa ad. You're not going to show an ad of a chair or a table if someone is searching for the word sofa on Google. And then immediacy, that just means being there when it matters. It means that you're actively bidding on search ads, you're using display, YouTube, and you have enough budget to make sure that if tons of people are searching for sofas, by the end of the day, your budget isn't running out and your competitors are getting in there and coming to that consumer in that particular micro moment. Cool. So do you remember the slide from earlier, just the customer's journey throughout the day? Well, all of those moments are you could tie them even to just Google apps. Another company could probably do this as well, but you're going onto Google Display, so that logo is the Google Chrome web browser. You're using that to read the news online. If you go a little bit lower to YouTube, that's where you might be listening to new music. I know I don't really listen to new music on Tidal or Spotify. I kind of want to see if there's a music video or if there's a YouTube star who recommends a song or something. I actually might go to YouTube instead. And you can see there's all these different kinds of uses. Up here, you might go to Google search, to research the home furniture industry, something like that, or to look for my blazer, I would go to search. So I'm engaging with all of these different platforms that are a part of Google. So here are the 4 ways to succeed in a micro moment world and to really reach your customers. They're just outlined here. It's being there, being useful, being quick, and connecting the dots. And I'll take you through each one of these and show you a little case study as well for each of those themes. So being there. Perfect. So Red Roof Inn is an example of a client who it's not a virtual business. You go to a hotel to physically climb into a bed and get a good night's sleep. But they took advantage of being there using Google search advertising. So we call this moment, or Red Roof and Google decided to name it, the looks like I'm staying the night moment. So essentially, Red Roof Inn did some research on flight cancellations in the United States. They find that there are 90,000 flight cancellations every single day in the United States, and thought, is anyone advertising to those specific people when they go on Google and search for things like Hotel by O'Hare Airport. Guess what? Not many people were advertising for that type of moment, that, oh my gosh, I need to find a place to sleep moment. Red Roof Inn jumped on it. Super sophisticated digital marketing strategy, very creative team, by the way. And now whenever flights are canceled, Red Roof's Inn ad appears there to serve a traveler in the moment of need. And that's just a screenshot of the search, Hotel by O'Hare Airport, this person's stressing out. I guess it's like 10 p.m. And then the Red Roof ad pops up. It has the rating. It has all these, all the different locations here. And then it has this very important button, this click to call button, so he can just call. He doesn't have to worry about going online and having to deal with a bunch of different pages, have different pages there. So that is an example of a fantastic marketing strategy that a non-digital business took advantage of and actually got more people physically into their hotels and in their beds. Cool. The next moment is being useful. So what do I mean by that? So Home Depot, another business, back when this happened, they had kind of a smaller e-commerce presence. They thought, we sell a lot of goods online. Our stores are doing pretty well too. I'm not really sure if we need to do anything else with Google products. We have the search ads, we have the display ads, we have Gmail ads. A Googler said, well, what about YouTube? And they were like, we don't need to be on YouTube. We have television ads. We came back with some data, and it showed that millions of people are watching how-to videos on YouTube every day. Another thing we found out too is that most of the people who watch these do-it-yourself videos are actually women. Fun fact. I was watching some channel videos on Home Depot when I was preparing for this presentation. It's everything from how to rewire your house to what shades of colors look good in a baby's room and all kinds of things like that. So what we convinced them to do was, why don't you just set up a YouTube channel, on the Home Depot YouTube channel, and just have your different employees showing how to use the different products, all the way from how to hold a hammer when you bang a nail to something more complicated, like how to rewire your house. So they set up this how-to video series on YouTube that helped consumers get things done around the house. And it was crazy. Over 100 million hours now of their channel has been watched on YouTube in North America in the past 3 months. So that's a lot of hours. And 1 in 3 people who watched a video actually bought something from Home Depot, which is 30% is a very strong conversion rate for an ad. One thing I might add, YouTube channels and YouTube videos are really cheap. They're like 9 cents a view. That's a lot better than paying $1 million to show up on The Big Bang Theory. So it's cost efficient as well. You can watch the full Home Depot how-to connection on YouTube as well. It's pretty interesting. Well, this is cool. So, Esurance, not exactly a brick and mortar business like Home Depot or Red Roof Inn, but they realized that there's this strange thing that happens. Now when people get into a car crash, they search for how to file a claim right there on their phone. They want that money as soon as possible. They want to file that insurance claim as soon as possible. So Esurance and Google nicknamed this moment, I want to talk to a real person moment. You're not going on your phone to fill out a 75-page form. What you want to do is actually talk to a person. And when you make that search on Google, you want to have that ad show up with that call button right there so you can talk to an actual person. How they found out that this was going to be a good strategy for them was they looked at, while consumers like going to the mobile web to search for the claim, they'd always rather talk to a person, and they had to reduce the amount of pages on their mobile website if someone did want to click into that ad and go to the mobile website. But even so, just by having ads that popped up on Google search with that phone number, Esurance saw a 200% increase in traffic coming to their mobile site. And in just a year, they actually tripled their amount of leads from mobile devices. It's pretty impressive. Cool. So the next step is being quick. This is a quote we say called, "If speed thrills, friction kills," which I know kind of sounds like something a nursery rhyme teacher would say, but people's patience now is kind of shorter than ever, especially when it comes to online. We see a lot of drop-off. If you have an ad that shows up on someone's phone, it's perfect, it's relevant, it's at the right time. They click into the ad and your site takes over 3 seconds to load. You lose 60% of possible customers that you would get if your site just took less than 3 seconds to load. So I would put a lot of emphasis on speeding up your websites, whether that's on desktop or mobile. It will just end up saving you a lot of money in the long run and helping you get some more customers. Cool. So I have a case study about this. So filing a claim moments, similar story with Progressive Auto Insurance. They noticed that, here's Flow here, my favorite. They noticed that when people were filing a claim, they were going to the mobile website and they needed to find the next steps really quickly on the app. So their claim process on mobile, they realized, was a 24-step process. When you get in a car accident, no one's clicking through 24 pages to file the claim. So with some creativity and teamwork, what Progressive did was reduce the mobile claim process to just 5 pages. They actually saw a 35% rise in start-to-finish rate from starting the claim to actually ending it, and a 7-fold increase in total submissions from mobile phones. A very impressive return here. Cool. So one of the examples I just talked about is there, but you also need to really anticipate needs. So, thinking about when someone is moving, what are the moments when someone would need to buy new furniture? Maybe they've just been in their house for a really long time and they're looking to renovate their home. People who are searching for renovation tools, things like that. Those are the moments when you should be showing your furniture ads to these customers. Obviously, you wouldn't advertise to someone who's maybe going on vacation for a month. I'm someone who's booking a flight, they're probably not in the market to buy furniture right now. But someone who's worrying about weatherproofing their garage, someone who is looking at good public schools in the area, that's someone that's here to stay, and that's someone who's potentially a good customer for your store. This is pretty interesting. We found that 61% of smartphone users are more likely to buy from mobile sites and apps that customize information to their location. I know many of you do not have mobile apps. It's not something that's very necessary for a lot of home furniture companies, but it's still relevant to have ads that have their location information in it. Put the address. On Google, we call it a location extension. So when the ad comes up, they see the address where your business is. When they click on that address, it actually opens up Google Maps and it shows their car how to get there or how to walk there. So that's very important. Something else that's important, putting calls to action on your mobile site in a primary spot. So for example, let me go back. Cool. So right here, you obviously have get a quote. That's the top of the page. You type in your zip code, boom, you get your quote. Finding an agent, that's very important too if you want to physically visit one. These are all very basic advertising things you'd have in an ad, but sometimes people forget they don't have the address, they don't have the phone number, they don't have the call extension, and then no one clicks on their ad and they wonder why. Once again, taking advantage of built-in GPS capabilities, try and always have your address on every page. People do like to buy furniture in person. We know that, it's always been that way. I don't see that changing. There, of course, are a lot of Silicon Valley geeks who buy all their furniture on Amazon, but that's a different market. And then also using customers' past behavior on the right. So this is, I believe it's Gap. Basically, this ad, they knew because the woman had bought the shoes before that when they clicked on the ad, it would already have filled out, shoes, women, size. I can't really see. I think it's size 7.5. Use your customers' past behavior. If someone bought a patio furniture from you last year, maybe it's a year from now, it's a year from that time, advertise them maybe some indoor furniture or a lamp to match their patio table. Keep using the information that you already have. I know you know your customers really well. My mom knows almost everyone who walks in her showroom, so record this information and make sure you're sending ads to those people at the right time. Cool, so connecting the dots. Arguably the most important piece of this is once you have all this information, what exactly do you do with it? I would say this is the trickiest part. So while all channels matter, I hope something that you got out of this presentation was that mobile is surprisingly important, especially for home furniture. Like 57% of your searches are coming from there. There's an 18% increase in searches, so people are more interested in furniture than ever, and they're looking on their phones. Mobile, I will have to say, it's kind of driving the digital bus today, more so than desktop. So it's become kind of that connective tissue, I think, between me standing here and like me going to a store. I kind of like to just check out things on my phone before I go in the store or look up directions to the store, something like that. And consider this, when people use mobile search to help make a decision, they're 57% more likely to visit your store. This is just US data. 40% more likely to make a phone call to your store. So it's making people want to pick up the phone more than someone who isn't on the mobile. And they're actually 51% more likely to make a purchase. So it's good to have a good mobile presence. Cool, let's see. Okay, awesome. So measuring across screens, this is all part of connecting the dots. 40% of smartphone users who research on their mobile device go to purchase on a desktop. It's pretty interesting data. This is like for all verticals. For furniture, that number is a little bit lower, obviously a lot lower, because people like to go try out furniture in stores. But it's still important to be able to kind of measure across screens. What I mean by that is that second piece here. So accounting for multi-device behavior. If you set up a digital marketing campaign and you thought, okay, my mobile site's fast, my ads are good, Phillips just told me all of these searches are coming from mobile, I'm gonna start bidding more on mobile, so you run a test. When you do that, when you increase your bid on mobile, you start investing more in mobile, pay attention to how it affects all of your traffic. Because one thing I think a lot of retailers are surprised is that they're bidding up on mobile, but maybe not only do their mobile website visits increase, but the traffic to their desktop increases, and the foot store traffic will increase as well. So kind of pay attention to what happens there. Maybe you bid more on desktop and you realize that it's doing nothing. Your store visits aren't increasing, your mobile site visits aren't increasing. Take down that bid. So make sure you're kind of paying attention. And then making sure mobile gets a credit for call conversions. This might be a little bit too technical. Do a lot of you have Google AdWords account set up? Okay, so a fair amount. So essentially, if you know what that means, a conversion is the most important event to a retailer, so a sale, basically. However, on digital, you can measure other things. So you could measure phone calls, so people who click on your ad, even people who go to your desktop site. Google has a feature where if someone clicks on an ad and goes to your website, the phone number will automatically change to a number that proves that someone saw your ad from Google only. It's called a dynamic forwarding number, and it's really unique. So you can tell, all these people go to my desktop website and make calls, where are they coming from? Well, that will tell you. Which is pretty cool. So, and then for those of you who have apps, do any of you have apps, or anybody? Don't worry about it. I won't even mention it then. Measure more than just app installs, which is something that you're already doing in the home furniture industry. Cool. I think this is the second to last case study here for Shutterfly. So Shutterfly is an interesting business. They sell physical goods like baby books and photo albums for families, wedding anniversary albums and stuff like that. But it's an all online business. They have warehouses and it's all done digitally. So this is really cool. Shutterfly was thinking, how do we kind of connect the dots against screens? We don't understand what's going on. Are people ordering on mobile? Are people ordering these books on desktop? We don't interact with our customers basically at all, and we want to understand more about their behavior. So this decision to kind of understand what their consumers were doing and how they're interacting with different devices came from their understanding of multi-screen behavior. So by measuring cross-device conversions, which is something you can measure in AdWords, a conversion that might start on mobile, they might start researching Shutterfly or wedding albums on mobile, and then they actually order the wedding album on their desktop computer. They realized that in the purchase process, these cross-device moments, these conversions happen a lot. So by measuring these, they learned how often mobile was actually playing a part in that customer journey. This data was then used to make budget decisions, and they led the company to enable 100% of its keywords to be on mobile, whereas before they were bidding on keywords that were only showing up on desktop ads, and they pushed those all to be shown on mobile. And basically just by adding those keywords to mobile and investing more in mobile, they increased their digital conversions by 15% in under a year, which was a very big deal to Shutterfly, whose business was stagnant for the past couple of years. Cool. This is an interesting one, Sprint. Obviously, they're an online store. My phone service is through Sprint. But they wanted to drive more people in their stores. They used a cool thing called AdWords store visits converting. So for AdWords accounts that have been running for a while and have been collecting a lot of consumer data, Google AdWords will connect the dots for you, and it will actually be able to track that someone who clicked on your ad on their phone ended up walking into your store. This is all done just through simple GPS technology and knowing device IDs on phones. Kind of creepy. Just some statistics there. Sprint knows that while 90% of wireless shoppers research online or on mobile, a majority of them still buy in retail stores. It's the same for the home furniture industry. In fact, 1 in 4 people they found out who clicked on Sprint search ads ended up in a store. So 25% of people seeing an ad on a phone and going in a store is something that they took advantage of. It's a moment. So given this, the Sprint really focused on tools and technology, and they thought if people really like going on their phones first, then when they come in the store, we're going to have the sales clerks walking around with iPads to kind of keep showing them that digital experience. So basically, to even better understand how mobile was driving conversions in stores, they really took advantage of our store visits reporting. I think they saw a 31% higher visit rate from mobile search ad clicks versus desktop once they started tracking store visits through Google, which was pretty interesting. They had no idea before. Cool. So here's a checklist, something to write down. Be there, be useful, be quick, connect the dots. These are all the different subcategories that I talked about here. And I will say, if you ever need help going through this process with your company, because I know digital marketing can be very confusing, I would highly recommend the Google partner agency who brought me here, which is HFA Buying Source. They're here in the room today. I think Brian's here somewhere. No? Oh, there he is. Great. So they're a fantastic agency. In short, Google partners with agencies that have really good client retention. Clients that are creative, they use all the different products, YouTube, search, display, and they follow this micro-moments checklist pretty quickly to bring their customers a positive ROI. They get that Google Premier Partner badge, which Buying Source has. So thank you so much for inviting me here today. It's been a pleasure to teach you guys.